Now, we'd love to take a moment, if we may, to discuss the importance of inclusive, progressive casting to this project and to the industry as a whole. We've invited Elliott Bornemann, who you may remember as our Luke Skywalker from Shakespeare's Star Wars, from Hakuna Machatter, a YouTube channel discussing representation in film and TV, to talk about TSMGO's casting. Elliott, are you there?
I'm here.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ruth and Matt, and good evening to everyone watching. I'm Elliott, the Show Must Go Online alumnus and creator and host of YouTube channel Hakuna Machatter, a channel on which for the past year I have championed positive diversity and representation in film and TV, as well as discuss, along with guests, how diversity and representation can be improved. Many of you will be aware that as part of this awards ceremony, there was the idea of holding a category to celebrate and award the progressive casting embedded in the Show Must Go Online shows. However, after some discussion and deliberation, the idea of awarding progressive casting was decided to be more detrimental than progressive. After all, the objective of progressive casting is to normalise the casting of all people for all roles, and so to award it every time it is accomplished is to further ourselves from the completion of that objective. At the same time, though, it would be a shame to not in some way recognise the work of Sydney Aldridge, Meg Robinson and Fran Cataneo, and this is why I'm here speaking this evening. Last year, our world changed, and there is a lot of talk about getting back to some form of normality, namely when we will get there and how it will look. We hear the phrase new normal a lot. This phrase shaped by the things the pandemic has helped to bring to the very forefront of socio-political conversations. Conversations about race and most recently, the safety of women. With race, we learned that it is no longer enough to be not racist. We must actively be anti-racist. With women's safety, we have finally flipped the conversation to the responsibility of men. Of course, these aren't the only conversations we are having and need to have. What more can and should we do for the rights of trans people and people of differing abilities, both neuro and physical? If these conversations are going to continue to be at the forefront of society, then how we cast Shakespeare, theatre, film, television, etc., is imperative in reaching a new normal that recognises the place of all people. Sydney, Meg and Fran have shown us that the new normal is already here. Not only is it a simple task, but it is imperative if we are to take everything we have learned in the last year and move forward with it. We have to challenge our biases, open ourselves to fresh perspectives, and move forward with intention to make progressive casting the new normal. Even when we think we are successful, even when we begin to sit back and congratulate our work, we still need to look at how we may improve that little bit more again. If we want progressive casting to be the new normal, well then, we can't call it progressive casting. Do we call it inclusive casting, or better yet, just casting, with the knowledge that it is by default inclusive? One term I've come across recently is identity-conscious casting. What does it mean to cast an actor from an underrepresented cohort as the Scottish King? How does that infer the play? With identity-conscious casting, it is important to include the casting director in the process from the very beginning. They are as much a part of the design as any other department. Who they imagine in the role could very well bring a new perspective we haven't originally seen. They can't be achieved when trying to fit an actor in an already established form. I mean, if Sydney had stuck to established forms, we may never have gotten Evangeline Dixon's wonderful emo Romeo. It was inspired. The lessons on race and the safety of women have taught us that if we are not a part of the solution, we are a part of the problem. This same lesson needs to be adapted into casting and further into who is producing and directing. As David Oyelowo said in 2016, and I quote, "I am very cognitive of the fact, as it pertains to diversity, if you are not a part of the solution, trust me, my friend, you are a part of the problem." End quote. In the same speech, he moves on to say this about diversity, and I quote, "It's got to be baked into the foundations of where the ideas flow from." End quote. Sydney, Meg, and Fran position themselves as part of the solution to finding the new normal and baked inclusivity into the foundations of casting. That is our new normal. Thank you very much to Ruth and Matt for hosting this evening. Thank you to Rob and Sarah and the Show Must Go Online family for asking me to speak this evening. I hope you continue to enjoy the ceremony. And if you wish to continue the championing of positive diversity and representation with me, please join me on my YouTube channel at Hakuna Machatter and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Hakuna Machatter. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Elliott. Absolutely.